Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Tarunji.
Good afternoon, Dr. Mehta. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
I'm
Seeing
sorry
you
I could
after a
not
long
respond
time.
to your phone call. I was traveling in a remote village in Himachal and the
Oh,
connectivity was rather poor.
I would have thought so. Yeah.
Holiday, I tried contacting you, but I couldn't get through. And I was been traveling, and right now I've just reached Bangalore about an hour back.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I know you've been a big traveler always. So, yeah, but it's good to see you at least like this.
My
And,
pleasure, sir. My pleasure. I can see Dr. Gauri also, Mr. Banerjee. Namaskar, everyone. Namaskar, everyone.
To all of you, sir.
Namaskar,
Namaskar.
good afternoon, everyone.
Dr. Gauri, yes.
Thank you, everyone, for joining in on a short notice. And we are celebrating the World Environment Day today. And, the prerogative being to reduce plastic pollution. And in ICFA, some of the initiatives that we are taking, one is, how do we, participate in this initiative? One would be through inputs, that is, reducing the usage of plastic in agri inputs. And of course, one would be crop residue waste management, which can also contribute largely to how we can replace plastics with value added products and so on and so forth. And, being sensitive to the time, I'll now invite my Director General, Dr. Tarun Sridhar, to welcome all of you and all to set the context for this meeting. Dr. Tarun, over to you. Tarun, sir?
Yeah, can you hear me? Sorry, I was to unmute
Yes.
myself.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Shreyasi. Namaskar, everyone. On behalf of the Indian Chamber of Food and Agriculture, that is ICFA in short, I extend to you all a very warm welcome on the occasion of the World Environment Day. While Shreyasi used the word that we are here to celebrate the World Environment Day, this is indeed a very serious kind of a celebration, which calls upon all of us to take note of the serious challenges to environment conservation which we are facing, and also the flack which agriculture and the livestock sector has been getting from various quarters, and come to some kind of an agreement on some actionable points which we could collectively as also individually take, so that we make our agricultural practices, and when I use agricultural practices, I use livestock also, more sustainable. I see there's a gallery of very illustrious and eminent professionals and practitioners who are present here. We are indeed grateful to all of you, and we look forward to some very constructive and valuable, as also well-informed suggestions from you. Since I am the co-host of this meeting, I would refrain from giving my opinion at the outset, and more so because we have Dr. Mehta with us, as also many people who are hands-on and who are well aware of the more than any one of us, the issues which confront us in terms of sustainability of Indian agriculture and livestock farming.
Yeah.
So you've muted yourself by mistake.
No, I don't know. Although the theme of this year's World Environment Day is beating plastic pollution, I think when we talk in terms of sustainability of agricultural practices, let us expand the ambit of the theme by coming up with the tangible suggestions as to how we could make our agriculture environmentally more sustainable, as also protect our agriculture and livestock from the negativities of environmental damage which we see around. Now, while disposing of and management of plastic waste is a huge challenge, at the same time we cannot wish away plastic. Plastic has also been one of the very strongest inventions which has supported agriculture and livestock farming. Having said that, I will close with my last remark. Please let us understand that agriculture was the first human intervention to manipulate and influence the environment. After till agriculture came into being, the man was a hunter, and he was competing with other living beings in search of food, and the method of finding food was hunting. It is only when man found that he could manipulate and influence the soil and plant seed there, and thereafter grow crops. That is also the onset of human civilization, when the man from hunter became a farmer. So the story of agriculture itself is a story of man and environment growing and diversifying together. Unfortunately, we find that when we talk in terms of environmental sustainability of agriculture, there is also a group of ideologues which put the entire blame of environmental negativity on the agriculture sector and the livestock sector. So we, as the very closely involved stakeholders of the agriculture sector, have to be slightly beware of that. Having said that, I will pause here, maybe come in the end. Just to sum up what has transpired, I'll request Dr. M.H. Mehta, who's also the chairman of the task force on eco-agriculture, a very renowned person. I think I need not give any introduction to Dr. Mehta to all of you, especially when it comes to the area of natural farming, eco-agriculture, organic farming. I would say Dr. Mehta's words are to be taken with utmost seriousness. Over to you, Dr. Mehta. We have 2 hours with us, and we have a gallery of eminent speakers. So I would request the speakers to be very, very focused and try to say their thing within 5 minutes, so that we have enough time for question and answers, and also the views of other participants. Dr. Mehta, over to you for your presentation, as also for sharing the rest of the meeting. Thank you, Dr. Mehta. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Sridhar, and greetings to everybody. Dr. Shreyasi has done a great job in bringing us all together on this very important day, and also on very, very important topic for the sustainability, for the future of the globe and everybody. So it's really a very, very special day, and I'm extremely happy that people from all diversified areas and different geographical places are here on this platform. So I'm sure this initiative is going to be an extremely important step in the what we would do in the actions, and of course the roadmap for the action. So what I plan is to do a little more focus, as Dr. Sridhar has very rightly said, on a specific job. If you remember, all the last several years of the World Sustainability Conferences, COP 28, 29, 30, have all ended with one very clear regime: the time for action. Time for action. I mean, we already have enough data, enough information, enough worries about the future, but the time for action and how to take this further. So this is going to be a very important place. Now, I just thought we will, when we are talking about this year being celebrated as plastic, there is also seemingly a very close relationship between agriculture, the future of agriculture, and also the plastic use. After all, we know more than 80% of our water requirement goes to agriculture in most of the countries. The plastic use in agriculture on the increase, whether it is for mulching or the greenhouses and so on, is also another thing. So both these areas, when we talk about the waste or agro waste and the plastic waste, have some correlation here and there. But here, what we are going to rather emphasize is, if there is a problem, is there a solution? And if there is a solution, how do we act upon that? That is going to be the major thing which I wanted to say. So when we have been discussing about the horrible problem of crop residue burning, which horribly makes bad impact on our soil, on our sustainability, on our air, on our environment. And any attempt on eco-agriculture or organic farming or something has this as one of the major requirements to find a really right use of the crop residue. So, in fact, when I remember our well-known person, Dr. Swaminathan, the father of Green Revolution, had discussed with us and said that the time is now to move from green to evergreen revolution or eco-agri revolution. Now, when we say eco-agri revolution, I'm taking that as a broad term. It is an inclusive term. Organic farming, regenerative farming, jaivic kheti, natural farming. Ultimately, the aim is same, that close to the nature technology, the eco-friendly way of doing agriculture for the sustainable future. And that is the reason that the working group on eco-agriculture has been formed, for which the mandate is very clear. It is to give the roadmap and action plan. And while doing that, one very important thing which is realized is that the rightly handling the crop residue, it becomes a most important part for eco-agriculture. So the next slide just shows the kind of crop residue which is generated. I mean, we know that there are visible ways when during the winter the crop burning happens, and so many cities like Delhi and Kanpur and Chandigarh and all get terribly affected. But you just see the amount of crop residue in millions of tons in different areas. It is ultimately it is something like 92.8 million tons per year. And now, is this a problem, or can we make this as an opportunity? This is what really is going to be the important part. So the next slide tells about how do we utilize this, the various alternatives, and what would be the practical way. We are not talking about a small volume. So using it for animal feed, okay, some use it, but also not for all. Particle boards, limitations of collection and use volume, fuel biomass. When we started doing this exercise all together in some years back, all these alternatives were discussed also with the meetings with several different farmer groups in Punjab, Haryana, MP, UP, Gujarat, and so on. Also, a lot of feedback came that when you try to do anything like pellet making, particle board, how much area you can cover? You want to cover not a few thousand acres, you want to cover a few million acres. And so the next part is mulching, which is so very important as far as the regenerative or organic farming is concerned. But then the new developments on multimicrobial sprays. These are the consortia of microbes, which when sprayed converts in situ without need for any cutting. In situ it converts the biomass or the crop residue to high value biocompost. Now in that case, there is no need to burn. The soil improvement takes place and it's easily applicable in a very large area. So this was the common consent came up, because we know when we go to the farmers and talk to them, we say machine kitna kahan tak pahunchega, how much area we cannot afford, our farms are small, and so on and so forth. But this is the alternative which ultimately came out. So we also had very interesting discussions and feedback about what is happening around the world. Crop residue burning or crop residue management is a worldwide problem. We must realize that. When I had a lot of interaction with Professor Ratanlal, the soil man of the world, and World Food laureate, a very old friend also, who very clearly wrote when we started doing these exercises together. And the platform was common. In the eco-agriculture working group, we had representatives from farmers, from research scientists, from industry, from corporate world, and so on and so forth. And of course, government and non-government. So when we were discussing this feedback came very interestingly, where he emphasized the need for this kind of eco-friendly way of handling the crop residue so that the organic carbon, worldwide and particularly in our country, our soils are starving of organic carbon. And once organic carbon goes down, the fertilizer use efficiency, the water requirement, and the entire pattern really goes down. So very similar. In fact, in one of the early meetings, the participation came from Dr. Li Ji from China, as well as Dr. Holly Little, who shared their experience that what is the best way, and they said the kind of comparatively new technology of microbial spray is the most practical and better way. So the work was taken up, and in the next one, ultimately, when you want to solve a problem, you have to take it to the people. Farmers are not interested in our theory or our talks. We realize very soon that it will have to be demonstrated in a big way. And this is one typical case of the results with different groups. And I'm very happy that some of the people who took up this implementation together with all in joint effort are here with us. For example, the IPS Foundation took it up. And here I'm mentioning the one particular case which is called Real Life, which is a multimicrobial mixture, which was specially developed and given to these people. You can have many other possibilities and many other supplies also, but this particular case is being explained as a case where how the whole thing was taken up on a demonstration level. Coming out of the lab, going to the field in different areas. A farmer in Sangrur, then the CII, Confederation of Indian Industry, they approach us because they were saying that the air pollution problem is creating so much havoc, especially during the October, November, and December month. We are here to join you in thing, and so the results were very well studied. The soil analysis were done. The organic carbon went up, the increase in phosphorus level, and so on. Also the Amritsar area, but very systematic work and lead was taken by Punjab Pollution Control Board along with 4 other partners, like Siam, the Automobile Association, and so on. And this was especially on paddy straw, and at least 5 organizations got together, including Punjab, and I am sure Dr. Marwa is here, whom later on we'll invite to share the experience. He had been the chairman of PPCB, Punjab Pollution Control Board at that time, and the fairly large area, Patiala, 12 acres, Fatehgarh, Ropar, Ludhiana, so all put together almost 350 acres. Was very happy, a very systematic and scientific report and analysis was given as a feedback to all. There was water holding capacity increase, there was almost doubling of the organic carbon in the soil. No need to burn, enhance nutrition recycling. After all, you know, the crop residue is a huge storehouse of all nutrients and and the micronutrients. And when you are putting it back by doing this in situ, the advantage is tremendous. So the next one, the last one where Punjab Pollution Board again took it up in multiple villages in IPS Foundation, NSS, CIAM, and then Solidaridad International has taken up this in a very large way in MP and UP farms, both for wheat as well as rice crop residue. And they found the excellent reports I came up with, they circulated in a very open way to all, including, and I was very happy when we had taken up interactions with the farmers in UP as well as in other places that they were very happy. They said, please give this to us. We will not burn the crop. And this would give good advantage not only to us, but to our children, our soil, our environment. Next slide. This was all comprehensively when we were invited to give the details. All these were put together with the idea that now is the time we need to scale up. This has been done and shown in Punjab, in Haryana, in UP, in MP, in Gujarat, in few thousand acres. What is needed is we need to do this in few lakh or few million acres. And this is the challenge. For this, we need the support of the local government, the state government, the central government, as well as, of course, the local communities. But the local communities, now convincing them is going to be much easier because they have shown the advantages, they have seen the good thing that happened. So there's no need for them to be in a hurry and burn the crop rather than using this thing. So the next and last slide, which I thought I'll just show you, that the multimicrobial mixture, cheaper, easily applicable. I think Dr. Saxena here, his organization and Solidarity even took up application using drones. So the area coverage is much larger. And that was also a very successful attempt. Next slide. So I will just end with the last slide where you say the big problem of crop residue burning is there. It's not only in the northern states of the country. I got the feedback from Northeast, from South, and so on, as well as now several international groups have been talking about it. In Thailand, if you remember last year, there was a huge problem in Bangkok because of the burning of the crop residues. Same way in Africa, and I'm sure today we have a very eminent scientist from Zimbabwe, who is of course an international chair, will also be there. So I think here is an opportunity. It converts crop residue to biocompost in situ. And the most important requirement in biocompost for any eco-agriculture practice, whether it is for regenerative agriculture, you call it organic, you want to call it jaivic, whatever. No need to burn crop residue. Instead, it improves organic carbon in soil, enriches the soil, improves water and fertilizer use efficiency. Low cost, and easily applicable, can cover large area in short time. And it is successfully demonstrated in fields by combined effect of several organizations, as the list will show here. The Punjab Pollution Board, Solidarity International, Science Ashram, Gujarat Life Sciences, Thapar, Beijing University, IPS Foundation, Indian Automobile Association, and so on. So would be a first and most important step for eco or regenerative or natural agriculture revolution, which, as I said in the beginning, is now going to be the time from green to evergreen revolution or eco-agri revolution. Can be used along with or without machines like Happy Seeder and others. It can be even combined wherever possible. Real life is one example I said, but there can be many other. Real life spray followed by a total input package. The bio input packages are now rising at a very fast rate, whether it is for vegetables, banana, or wheat, or rice, and so on and so forth. So once you have this biocompost and the ground is there, the entire thing can follow with this to bring what we all want, eco-agri revolution for evergreen revolution. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Mehta, for the amazing presentation. And moving on, I would like to invite Dr. Sibanda Lindiwe. She's the chair at the Consultative Group on International Agriculture Research, and also happy to announce that she had received the MS Swaminathan Global Leadership Award for Sustainable Development last year, where I met her. So, Dr. Lindiwe, may I request you to please join us?
Thank you very much, moderator, and thank you to Dr. Mehta for the challenge. Clearly, we cannot continue with business as usual. We're moving from a green revolution to an evergreen revolution. It's no longer a choice, but an imperative. And what we need are innovations, technologies that are accessible, cost-effective, and popularized through policy so that those who need those technologies can access them. So my question, really, because I'm not a panelist here, I'm here to absorb the knowledge from those who have walked the path. And speaking from an African perspective, the challenge is always affordability of technologies and the speed at which they can be accessed. When I speak about this, it's more about cost. How do we make sure that these technologies can be adapted for local production and disseminated to reach all the farmers that need them? What is the India experience in popularizing a new innovation that's good for the planet and good for agriculture and good for the farmer's income? How best can we accelerate uptake of these new technologies? I thank you.
Right. Dr. Lindiwe, in fact, I had a question for you, but you have asked a question. So may I first ask you the question, then we'll sum it up. We'll have Dr. Mehta summing it up. Is that okay for you?
Yes, the general experience is that the multi-microbial spray is one of the cheapest way of doing. But maybe our friends from PPCB or Solidarity and who have actually done the work, it consists of two major components: the multi-microbial mixture, which I think costs about 400 rupees per acre. Dr. Lindiwe, this is something like less than $5 to $6 per acre. And the second part is, of course, the application fee, which, of course, people do it either with hand spray or they are now using drones for covering a very large area. So that would be the application fee. So I think it's a very, very easily applicable and cheaper way of reaching out to solve this problem. Yeah.
Dr. Lindiwe, a quick question for you. Now, how
I'm
can
ready.
thank you. How can the crop residue to compost work demonstrated in India be taken to African and other countries for eco-agriculture practice? Your views on that?
Please repeat the question.
How can the crop residue to compost work demonstrated in India be taken to African and other countries for eco-agriculture practice?
Excellent. I think it's a technology that can be global. And what makes Africa-India connection is that we have the same history of colonization, same history of smallholder farming, same history of agriculture being the pathway for prosperity. Now, how can we make sure that this technology reaches Africa? The first thing is solving a real problem that affects Africa. So we tick the box on that one. The second one is really the policy environment. When you're taking a technology to a new area, first you need the right technology. We've seen it works in India, but you need the right messengers. The best messengers that we have seen for uptake of technology are those that are most affected by the problem. That is farmer to farmer interaction. Farmers are risk averse, but they also have an appetite for new technologies that improve their livelihoods and their businesses. So we need those exchange programs. And thanks to technology now, we can connect these farmers virtually, and we can promote the knowledge dissemination through faster, more effective ways. But nothing beats that first-hand demonstration plot where farmers will believe by seeing. Third, and most important, is the policy environment. What is the government, the different governments in Africa and the 54 countries, are they saying about the technologies? Is it something that is safe and good for the local environment? And who will be the conduit? That's where private sector plays a critical role. But in the choice of private sector, let's not forget farmers themselves are private sector. Let's not forget there will be hit back and competition from those companies that already exist that see this as a threat. So really, we need a big pull factor from farmers who say we need this technology. Then they influence policy and they find the right private sector to help scale the uptake of the technologies. This is a known path, but it requires local presence. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Shreyasi,
Wonderfully.
just a minute. I think Dr. Sibanda very succinctly mentioned right in the beginning that technology has to be available, it has to be affordable, it has to be accessible. I think that was a brilliant answer. Now, how to make the technology accessible from India to African nations? I don't think would be in the domain of agriculture professionals and practitioners. This would be more in the domain of, as she said, the policy makers to create the right kind of policy environment. And I think with Dr. Mehta and Dr. Sibanda put together, it's very simple. We are not dealing with rocket science here. Solutions are very simple. And if you see in the chat box, in the chat box, also Dr. Ram Prasad has mentioned very clearly as to what could be the solutions. Solutions are there. What we require is the collective will of the policymakers as also the professionals. Having said that, my next suggestion to Shreyasi is if you could just tell the speaker right in the beginning as to what we expect from him or her, and leave the questions after all the speakers have spoken, so that one gets a fair chance. Otherwise, we may, because as things are heating up, the discussion is likely to get more intense. So we may leave out on a real sound wisdom from some of the speakers. So
Sure,
that's
sir.
what
We'll
my
do a quick
suggestion
round.
is. Yeah,
Sure, sir.
thank
Fair
you.
enough. I will do that. Thank you, Dr. Sib. Yes,
One thing, Shreyasi, I would like to add is a very well made point by both Dr. Lindiwe and Dr. Sivanda, that the technology can reach there on that. But my experience in all these last few years is that what is done in one place what is done in Punjab or Haryana cannot easily be taken to Zimbabwe or South Africa unless the farmers are shown that and demonstrated in a big way. So I think it becomes a two-step process. The first part is where fairly large scale but demonstration. But because farmers don't believe unless they see it. And so I think this probably will be the approach. We have to be patient about it.
Yeah,
I'm impatient basically, but I know that we have learned through experience that farmers don't easily take it in a big way unless it is well demonstrated.
Yeah, I think that what ultimately comes to the adaptability of the technology has to be established before we take it forward. Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Mehta. Yes, Tracy.
Moving on, may I invite Dr. Satwinder Singh Marwa? He's the former chairman at Punjab Pollution Control Board. Dr. Marwa, I have one question for you. We've discussed the multimicrobial spray. So one question on that. While you have successfully laid the field demonstrations for multimicrobial spray as a solution to crop residue burning problem, how can this be scaled up for large-scale application in all the states? Dr. Marwa? Shruti, do we have Dr. Marwa with us?
Just a minute, ma'am. Let me.
No worries. Moving on. Moving on, I would go to my next speaker. May I now invite, allow me a second, Dr. Mohanji Saxena. He's from AgriLive Research Foundation. Sir, while you've already raised your hands for a question, I would like a very quick introduction, and also I'll follow it up with a very quick question on livestock-based farm systems, how to reduce the dependency on plastic-based agri-inputs. Over to you, Dr. Saxena.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Well, good afternoon to everyone. I am connected from New Jersey, United States. It's 5:30 in the morning because this subject is of such a great interest for everyone. And the theme also, that beating plastic pollution. Now, there are two things which we have to understand, that what can beat plastic. The answer is very simple. It is bioplastics. Now comes the question, as the other speaker also said, the doable technology has to be available for adoption, and that technology is to be supported. Now, a lot of countries, because plastic has been a problem not just from today, but it has been for the plastic as a pollution, plastic as a non-degradable thing, and bioplastic provided the solution. Now here the problem is that we have not made provision like we have made for fossil fuel replacement by renewable alternative. Now this is the suggestion to the chair and to everyone. If we can have international solar alliances with a commitment of countries, corporates, and the community for $100 billion as a corpus available for making renewable energy replace the fossil fuel energy. And there is a program laid out that by 2050, what percentage of energy will be coming from renewable resources. Now, my suggestion is there is so much of research and development taking place to develop bioplastic from renewable sources like cellulose polymer, like starch, like corn, and banana peel, and a couple of IITs in India, Indian Institute of Packaging. The only barrier has been the cost, because bioplastics comes out of technology and out of the research pipeline. And that is where comes the question that if we can facilitate the large scale adaptation of bioplastic, and it can go from, like, say, for example, in the beginning, it can be single-use plastic replacement. And then you have a renewable plastic sources available. So this is the right time that we recommend to the Ministry of Environment and government through Dr. Sridhar and other people like Dr. Mehta and all, that we strongly believe that a status paper on bioplastic as on 25 should be drafted, given to the government, that how in the next 2 decades India can, along with the developed countries of America and Germany, and I was seeing that there is so much knowledge, science, technology, product available for beating the plastic pollution from our daily life. So this is what is my suggestion. And as far as the livestock is concerned and the agriculture is concerned, yes, plastic is very much related. So wherever the plastic is being used, eventually the bioplastics can be adopted, used, and this will definitely take care of our environment, economy, and efficiency of resource usage. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Saxena. Moving on, I would like to
just a second, Shresi. I have a suggestion. I think we should utilize the services of Dr. Saxena in terms of understanding the whole technology and the usefulness of bioplastics and how could we take it forward. And he also mentioned in terms of how to make this technology affordable and how could we scale it up and what could be the various alternative uses of bioplastics. And he used a very good term that it is bioplastics which can beat plastic pollution. I think let Dr. Saxena come back from the USA and schedule a separate meeting with him to take this suggestion forward. Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you, sir.
Down, and we will be working on this. Moving on, Dr. Ramprasad, may I invite you now? My quick question for you, because we are running short on time, so I'll also post my question along with inviting you. So how can agroforestry and farm forest interfaces be used to supply biodegradable materials that can replace plastic, agri-inputs like liners or shade nets?
Agroforestry is very popular with the farmers. The only depressing factor is the policy issues, because you plant a tree, but you are not permitted to easily harvest and take away. So no farmer would like to plant anything which he has no control over the produce. So this is the biggest question. This is well known to state governments. They are well known. They are discussed in many forums. But unfortunately, we are doing very little, because you have forests. So everybody is satisfied. We have forests. We have abundant supply of timber, and for people in the big places, they have luxury of import of timber from Malaysia and other places. So all these things are in fact not doing good to promotion of agroforestry. Otherwise, agroforestry is the best solution, and that can reduce the use of all these plastic and other things. Another thing I must tell a very learned audience, and I was just writing, but I'm very slow in writing, particularly on computer. So, see, in the tribal areas, we work in tribal areas in central India, and their tribes, for them, use of chemical fertilizer is forbidden. They don't use any chemical fertilizer, and they don't have access. They don't have access, but even if they have access, they will not use chemical fertilizers. And but what is happening that they had lot of scrub cut. If you went to these places in the evening, travel in the by road, you will find there's a lot of herds of this scrub cut. But they are gradually declining. 30% decline we have noticed in many areas, 30-40%. Because even the smallest farmer is using tractor. It's a convenient. It is available in this neighborhood. So they are using tractors. So there is no bullock cart. There is no bullock. You will not find bullock cart, which was very common. You will not find any plowing, this hand-driven plowing and all that. So, another unfortunate thing is that in our place, particularly in central India, which is supposed to be very forested tract, people are using even in Findle the cow dung converted as firewood by some mechanization, and they are using in replacing timber and firewood. This is a very bad thing. I mean, you can always cut a tree because tree will come. Even if you don't do anything, if you cut a tree, it will sprout and become again tree if you give simple protection. But unfortunately, they are using organic cow dung. So getting cow dung is one of the serious issue. So all those people who are advocating natural farming, organic farming is very good. But where to get all this cow dung which is getting lost in this process? There is no cut. So this is a very serious issue. I mean, contradiction one day, because we are talking of organic farming. We love to have organic farming. It is very important to have this natural farming, but something. So some policy issues they should and find out solution. See, there has been a scheme. There has been a scheme in central India, Madhya Pradesh. I'm talking that this area is very green. If you go to any travel to central part of India, you will find in the villages it looks very green. There are farms, even agricultural land. Also, they have grasses. So some politician thought that why not to distribute cows and very this advanced this improved breeds. So they distributed, and 90% died. In this span of say 2-3 months, 4 months, they are not able to keep up. So some of these policies must be looked into. Why are we doing this? So whenever I go and I think the very intelligent people are dealing, the policy makers in Delhi, in capitals, they are all very educated people. They have handled a lot of important departments in government of India and all that. But why they are agreeing to distribution of these cattle? The poor fellows, they cannot maintain their own cattle, and you are giving them breed, which requires very meticulous care. And there's some lot of things, some leakage also in the money. You are purchasing for 80,000 rupees per cattle per cow, and the real cost is only 40,000, 50,000. So all these things must be looked into. I mean, there is a lot of scope. These very important, and there cannot be any disagreement on this. But how to go fast? And for example, this we are talking, learned panelists were talking about the organic residue, how to decompose it. See, tropical climate is most favorable, offers most favorable conditions for the decomposition of agricultural residues. But unfortunately, the process has been confined to laboratories. We have some laboratory born solution. We have not come out. I mean, you can produce so many things, and can you think that we don't have technology? We don't have methods to decompose something which is already possible. So these are issues. I think they must also be considered. Thank you.
Shreyasi, sorry, I'm just barging in it. Again, Dr. Prasad has given ICFA some good homework. You see, it's a very important critical issue he mentioned, and Professor Neerja also in the chat box has flagged it, is the issue of agroforestry. You see, as a matter of policy, we encouraged farmers and took them towards agroforestry, showing them money in these trees and how these trees could be economic asset. But then came the forest department and the various Supreme Court judgments, which say you can't cut a tree. And they expanded the definition of forest, the famous Godavarman case. Now, the situation in many parts of the country is here farmers have grown commercially viable and commercially beneficial varieties of trees on their farmland. But the moment they cut a tree, the forest department barges in and threatens them with various fines, etc. Now, could ICFA work on it and produce create some kind of interest and pressure group to have a relook at the entire policy, which is generating a conflict between the forest department and agroforestry? Forest department, as also the various regulatory agencies, need to learn that agroforestry is promoting forestry. It is not anti-forestry. They are not hostile to each other. And that is something I think it will be a good paper to work in, and we can always take the help of Dr. Ram Prasad and his deep knowledge of the subject. Second issue is flagged again for all that Dr. Mehta also can maybe at the end respond to that. While we propagate the virtues of organic farming, he calls it eco farming, which is all inclusive. Now we also say that it is highly dependent upon manure. Ladies and gentlemen, it's good to speak of the virtues of cow dung, etc. But availability of cow dung is a huge issue. And once you get cow dung, sometimes it costs as much as gold, because number one, you very difficult to find a transporter. If you find a transporter to transport your cow dung from point A to point B, which could be your farm, the charges he demands are exorbitant, because once he has loaded cow dung on his this thing, he has to sterilize his vehicle. Otherwise, no Russian shop or no other food grain transporter is going to utilize his vehicle, etc. So these are very, very practical issues in which we need to work, because we are very Dr. Ram Prasad, in his own very quiet way, say that policymakers are very intelligent, etc. But this intelligence is only theoretical. It has to blend with the practical experience in the field, and we actually need to engage farmers who are practitioners of various forms of agriculture when we deliberate these issues. Sorry, I've been interfering. Only the purpose is Shruti and your team, Ayati, Ankit, and Shaisi, Shruti, etc. You should all take note of these suggestions which are coming and work on them. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And over.
Absolutely. So bringing, while I plan to move to Dr. Biradar, but I'll bring Dr. Satish Babu Gade, who's a national award-winning farmer. He's based in Andhra. So he will also, give us some nudges on this, on cow dung, and how is he, working on these traditional practices on his farm, which have helped him avoid plastic mulch, liners, and all of that, right? Anything plastic which is leaching into the soil. And how is he, promoting these farm networks? So can I have Satish Babu Gadeji please come in and, share your thoughts with us?
Yeah, good evening and thank you for giving me this opportunity. Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Me?
Yes.
Yeah. Residues, the plastic. Number one is plastic. And the experts, they have introduced this plastic for plastic mulching in the fields to restrict weed. And what happened, the farmers, they are using this plastic and they are plowing. As technology, always we speak about technology. They introduced one implement in with the tractor, and they used to mulch that plastic into the soil. This is what we have achieved. Once the policy makers, they are making a policy, they have to see, they are seeing one side, the head of the coin, the other side is the tail. They are not seeing that side. That makes the environment polluted. After getting polluted again, they are making some policies. These at the base level, you have to work with the farmers what the things are going on. Now we are on the farmers are on the farming. All the farming and lands are on deathbed. Now at this situation, without line of length, when this is same platform we are what we say, we are speaking on some other subject, there will be no linkage of that subject. So when we are making a policy means we have to sit with the farmers, because the farmers will get spoiled if it is uh, not get well. So in my suggestion is, cattle is the lone source for everything. As I am a practical farmer, I am saying cattle is the lone source for everything. But we are losing 17% of cattle regularly every year, declining population. How could we achieve all this with technology? Technology is not at all suggestible for Indian soils, because for every 30 kilometers, the soil will getting changed, and the water availability of water is also will get changed. One policy, single policy will not in general. We cannot in generalize the single policy throughout India with 28 states and 28 different climatic conditions, and the soil structure is different. So keeping all this in your mind, policy makers has to see it with a baseline also, not with the experts, but with the experts.
You're losing your voice.
Especially with the farmers. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Satish ji. Dr. Chandrasekhar Biradar, if I can invite you now, and I have a specific question for you.
Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, sir. So we've spoken about soil microplastics and the contamination and all of that. So number one, are there technologies that can track the plastic residue and microplastics in soils post-harvest, and zone-wise policy interventions that we can have? Also, can we propose a monitoring framework for measuring soil microplastic contamination and biodegradable material adoption?
Now, I did focus on instead of that, the monitoring and putting a lot of plastic and monitoring, that I put more emphasis in how to get rid of the plastic from the agriculture. So that should be the main, rather than creating the problem and monitoring the problem, managing problem. So I would focus on that. There is so many options from the bioplastics to the natural mulching. In fact, we did a lot of experiments on that. What are the different alternatives? This morning, just I came from the field. We at the end of the day, we are tackling this one in the farmer's field. And a lot of the vegetable growers, especially seed production units and what's called high quality vegetables, they're using the plastic mulch as the film for the reducing the weed. And then we found that a lot of them are like a breakdown in the soil, and they're contaminated in the soil. That's one issues. And secondly, they are not able to recycle, because a lot of the plastic, I see in my article, I wrote that this yesterday. So a lot of people telling that's how to use it. Even the people not able to collect them to the recycle, because of a lot of the soil is there, and also not able to collect them as one piece at the end of the season. So these are the number of issues there with the plastics. Just I'm talking about only the mulching. Even look into the bottles and other things, they're using so many different ways, like even the drip irrigation pipes I see everywhere in the field. So they're not able to recycle them on thing. So that we found that what are the best ways, how best they can rid up, they can grow. So the one thing they are managing the weed. Then you come out with a lot of this living mulch as well as the dead mulch, like a crop residue as a mulch. And also now they're using the coir pits and other things, doing the fantastic. They're adding a lot of nutrition as well, and also harvesting atmospheric moisture, having the mulch. And one very interesting thing recently in the Andhra Pradesh natural farming, so we noticed that when you shift to the herbicide free, and a lot of this very nice eco-friendly, that's the thick mat, the mulch is coming up, and that you in fact the harvesting the moisture of atmosphere, then really the working so well, 365 days cover. I think these are alternatives. They are very, very good in terms of coming out what you call the addressing the plastic issues in the agriculture. So we need now testing of some different what's called cover crop and PMDS, what they promoted NPA, the APCNF, and also we in GKVK are testing some different crop combinations. So one thing you found that increasing the soil organic carbon, so they tend to reduce the weed, and also the polycropping and 365 days cover cropping, then the most of the exotic weeds eliminated when the soil is improved. I think these are the vital options are there, but rapid transition, they cannot go into that one. There we need some kind of this morning they tested also the bioplastics and degradable plastic. They did it. but their cost is a bit higher than what the the plastic film they're using it. So there's the economic options are there. Of course, they need to be come out because of I see the soil is a lot of the plastic. Of course, you can put some sensors, you can able to monitor that, but nothing to do can do. Even you know that how much of plastic is there, but nothing can be done. So the only found the option is that how best you can cut down the plastic from that. So these are the few the ecological options are there. We need to go that way. And secondly, like Dr. Mehta has worked a lot of the bio the like what regulators and also the decomposers and having them added like in sugarcane, right? We are putting a lot of the sugarcane, they're burning everyone. So that they put the sugarcane that they're spraying these what's called the cellulose decomposer, some of the rapid decomposition agents, so that they can break down easily, so that they can intercropping sugarcane with some of these legumes they're growing. This is one thing. Secondly, while working in the dry areas, the people they use zero tillages and residue retention methods in the natural what you call regenerative agriculture practices. Because the carbon and nitrogen ratio is not there, sometimes they're not able to break down. So that when introducing this crop rotation with leguminous, and that really work out very well. Third one is when you go in the PMD's approach about 15 different polycrops together, and the breakdown of this material become really rapid. And fourth one, of course, there is the some of this Jivamrit, Panchamrit, some other the things is very come out. Like I see a lot of people they're doing this residue management, turning into the compost, and they adding that compost is not earthworm coming up, but they add a little bit of the 10 to 15% of the cow and other thing. Suddenly there is a lot of the activities happening in the soil, and these things one. And the other thing is that termites is often treated as a pest, right? But the termite is become a pest when there is no crop residue or dead material available, because termite never eat the living things. They always leave only dead things. If the lot of the dead material, leaf litter, and there in the soil, and they will break down them. So that's really when you go with the pre-monsoon dry sowing, and they added about nearly to the 60 to 75 tons of the green manure, and all the pests become actually friend, even including the grub. I think there's so many options are there to try out, and you can eliminate the plastic rather than use the plastic and monitor and manage them. I would go with get rid of the plastic. That's what the clear message for the World Environmental Day this year, how to get rid of the plastics. Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely, fair point, and to be considered, of course. Moving on, Dr. Gauri, if I may invite you.
Thank you. Thank you, Shreyaji. Actually, it is a wide topic, and it is very, we are talking about the generic aspects of the pollution, and plastics plays a very important role in pollution in the air, as well as in the water bodies, as well as in the soil. So since we are restricted to the agriculture part, so we will be talking about the agriculture, how in agriculture we can avoid plastics to avoid pollution. Because plastics plays a very important role in our daily life. And there is a promotion of not using plastic. Some of the states have already declared not to use plastic, especially in Karnataka. Even a small shopkeeper also, they don't give food, any item in plastics. Of course, in malls and big shops, they are using only the paper bags. So that is a different aspect. It's quite a generic, it's a big issue, how to avoid plastics. But now restricting to my comments on agriculture, I would say that plastics are used mostly for mulching, especially for covering the crop area to avoid, the moisture content evaporation from the soil. And this is being done by plastic covers, plastic polythene covers. Since our farmers are not so much literate, so they try to dump it anywhere. Not only it will never go into the soil because it is not degradable, but they dump it anywhere, which is polluting. Either many farmers, even they don't understand, in remote areas, they burn it also. That is giving fumes of greenhouse gases and other things. That's a different aspect. But mostly the plastics which are used in agriculture is only for mulching, and the containers which they use for biological inputs, which they buy from the market, because the containers they use is plastics. They are not biodegradable plastic. They don't use any bioplastics. So those plastics which are being disposed of in a different manner, that is creating the pollution by plastics. It is not by agronomical practices or any other practices. Especially in irrigated areas, they use mostly these chemical pesticides, chemical fertilizers, which all come in plastic bags and other things. Even biological inputs also, they come in plastic bottles and all. So the disposal of the used containers, it is creating problems in agriculture. And number two is the mulching sheets of plastic. These are the two basic things which are doing. Because in organic farming, natural farming, of course, organic farmings have been nationalized under a gadget notification, but natural farming is not yet done. So there is an option for, it's a voluntary system now. But in organic farming, plastics are prohibited. Nowhere you can use. Even when they going for a scrutiny of the organic farm, if they see any bottles or anything, there is a way of verification why it has been not disposed of, and how you dispose of this, and what input you have used. There is a traceability system. But this they don't use any bioplastics, because it is a simple process in agriculture. The farmers are poor, they use directly. Even the big agriculture projects, they use plastics for mulching and all. So in organic farming, the best way to avoid plastics from preventing pollution is to follow organic farming. So mulching can be done by different agronomical practices. One is by cover crops, by rotational crops, prevented tillage. There are many other ways by which you can prevent them, and then plastics can not be in use by the agriculture community. This is the main thing. But when a food has to be packed, when a processed organic food has to be packed, even our normal food, they have to use good varieties of plastics to prevent it from degradation, as well as from any leakage of the product. So nowadays, good plastics, bioplastics are being used, especially the branded products, they do use. But disposal is a main thing. That creation of the education, how to dispose of this, there is a promotion about this. They segregate the biodegradable and non-degradable. Even at the households, they are asked to keep different, separate the wastages in different buckets and all. There is there, but still we need at every level, even at the village level, even at the every person's level, so that that responsibility of all of us will be there, how to dispose of the plastics to prevent pollution. I'm
Thank
just
you.
giving generic remark, not going into more detail about agronomic practices, because mostly in agriculture, even in modern agriculture, of course, organic, leaving apart organic, they don't use much plastics. Except
Right,
for
ma'am. So that was a question that I had to ask you, that, how can we make biopackaging, how can it be mainstreamed into India's organic farming certification or as plastic-free alternatives? So we do
there
have...
are some permissible material, packaging material presently allowed for packaging food grade, food grade material for packaging food. That can also be avoided if bioplastics are made mandatory.
No,
Thank you.
absolutely. Thank you so much.
Shreyaji, just are you conscious of the time? Because we
Yes,
have
I am,
yes.
sir. So I really
Every
want to
speaker should get a
yes,
chance,
I
and I
am
would
moving
request
forward.
them to be very brief and to the point.
Sure. So the point for biopackaging brings me to the next point. What are the policy changes that are needed to integrate biodegradable inputs from agri waste? It could be, husk or, any type of biodegradable agri waste. And now I would like to invite now somebody from the bamboo value chain, if we can have somebody speak from there. Sanjeev Kharpeji, if you're here. Sanjeev Kharpeji. Can I invite Dr. Bharti?
Hello, ma'am. He's not in the meeting.
Okay, Dr. N. Bharti?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, sir. So how can I, last question that I picked up, now what are the policy changes that are needed to integrate biodegradable inputs from agri-waste, but now bringing it to a more, skewed towards bamboo value chain? how can bamboo and crop residues be processed or co-processed into trays, pots, or mulch films for plastic-free cultivation models?
Yes, thank you. Bamboo today being used for replacement of coal, production of ethanol, and for production of bio-CNG gas. And latest work is going on in converting bamboo into petrol, diesel, and aeronautic fuel directly. That's going on. And in fact, a good cultivated bamboo as an agroforestry model with all the water irrigation and fertilizer application is able to give close to around 40 ton of dry matter, which is equivalent to 10,000 liter of ethanol from 1 acre. And similarly, it is also equivalent to 10,000 liter of petrol or diesel or aeronautic fuel. And all these are carbon neutral or carbon negative fuel. And today, the extent of work's not gone up to the level of converting bamboo into bioplastic, but it is very much possible because of the abundance availability of cellulose, which is what is being used in the case of ethanol production. And certainly, it is possible. I think the work is not directed towards bioplastic at the moment. But the unfortunate thing is, bamboo has been declassified as it is classified as grass, is declassified as tree. So it is no more under forestry section. Anybody who's cultivating anywhere in the agroforestry or outside the forestry, they can harvest without any hurdle of forest department.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Bharti.
Most welcome.
So now moving on to Mitesh Chaudhary ji. He's from EcoPark. So how is EcoPark leveraging agri-residues, wheat husk, sugarcane waste, to create certified compostable packaging for farm produce and imports?
Thank you. We are at EcoPack. We are manufacturers of certified compostable products, wherein we use PLA, and we have now started using wood sugar, that is lignin, into making it increasing the strength of the composite. And it is not only the material that we identify in replacing the plastic, it is also the conventional design. So I would just like to share a small pilot that we conducted in India for grapes. So conventional grapes, the conventional packaging in grapes, we identified in the current practice what is exported from India is per pallet, there were, the net weight of the grapes was around 562 kgs. And as per our modular design, we could implement, we could have 990 kgs per pallet. So that is almost, where they were requiring 2 containers, we could ship only 1 container and accommodate that much of net volume and hence reducing the transportation emissions and cost as well for the, in the transport cost and saving. There are humongous saving. Even we reduced the food wastage from which was 5% to less than 1%. This was a pilot study. We were still waiting to go into a proper, semi-commercial pilot. So these are the results that we would like to share what we are working on. Thank you.
Right, thank you so much. Now, Mr. Rajshri Banerjee from Leads Connect. May I invite you? There's a quick question for you.
Yeah.
How can we digitalize the agri-credit systems to incentivize our farmers to adopt plastic-free, compost-based inputs from on-farm waste streams?
So good afternoon, everybody. And, from BL Agro, on the occasion of this World Environment Day, thank you to the Indian Chamber of Food and Agriculture for giving us this platform. Dr. Mehta, in the beginning of this session, has mentioned about, the crop residues, which is to the amount of 92.8 million tons per year, which is getting created. And he mentioned that, the agro waste utilization alternative, biocompost is the best, practice which is there. So I would like to, mention to you some of these areas where we are practicing and how to make agriculture more eco-friendly in nature. And I will be very specific in these cases. The first one, I would like to mention that from the BL Agro Group, we have a milk value chain initiative. And in this initiative, we have a dairy farm, we have a milk processing unit, we have a cattle feed unit, we have a compressed biogas plant. And this compressed biogas plant, CBG, which we are mentioning, so we use a lot of agricultural wastes like straw. We use organic wastes, including the agro or the industrial wastes from sugar mills, from agro processing, from food processing, paper and pulp, etc. And this plant is estimated to prevent a stubble burning for 60,000 to 70,000 acres of field. And it leads again to a reduction of estimated 2 lakhs to 2.27 lakhs tons of CO2 emission in the atmosphere. So this is, one good practice which we are doing in respect of the eco agriculture activities which we are doing. We are also, actively exploring biodegradable packaging materials across the food products to phase out, the multi-layer plastic. So that is the second part. And we are very eco-conscious on sourcing from firms which is aligned to good agricultural practices. We also, from the Leads Connect, we have a sustainable agricultural data-driven agronomic advisory system, which we provide to all the farmers for not only the advisory, also the climate smart advisory, which we provide. So these are some of the best practices which we provide from the BL Agro, and we are strongly committed in respect of the eco-friendly agricultural system in India. So that's it from our side. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Banerjee.
Shreyasi, what Mr. Banerjee has outlined in terms of their eco-friendly practices, and considering that we have very, very close and strong association with BL Agro, I would request that you please ask someone to document these practices so that they can be shared across the industry, subject to, of course, the concurrence of Mr. Banerjee on this. And I'm sure he won't object.
Yeah, sure, definitely.
Let others learn from your practices.
Absolutely. They have also launched the dairy services, and it's a state-of-the-art facility. So we'll do that. So moving on. May I invite PPS Pangliji? Shruti? Is Dr. Pangli available?
Ma'am, he is not here right now.
Okay. May I invite Mr. Arjun Mohan from Bamboo? Arjun Mohan from Bamboo?
Yeah. Hi. Hope I'm audible.
Yes. May I request you to put on your video? Yeah, you have. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
on.
Thank you, Arjun.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, so thanks for organizing this event. I've been listening to all the speakers. It was indeed a good session. So let me just quickly pitch about Bamboo. So
And I'll also tell you, give you a question. You can probably address that once you speak about the initiatives from Bamboo.
Sure.
So what innovations in Bamboo are you pursuing to convert crop residue into scalable, biodegradable packaging and mulch sheet alternatives? And how can you ensure these biopackaging solutions are affordable and farm usable? They withstand field conditions compared to plastics.
Yeah, perfect.
Over to you.
Yeah. So that's a very relevant question to our vision of the business, and in fact that's the core of our business, right? So we are working hard on developing sustainable alternatives for plastics, and we have already come up with few substrates, right? It's called biofill, which is a compostable polymer, and based on that biofill, we are also preparing some composite materials which can replace conventional multi-layer packaging like aluminum based packaging and so on. So the inputs for these materials, the biofill is completely from plant based polymers, right? So we derive from them and we develop them into the packaging structures. And the important thing here is that it doesn't need any separate machine, as such. It can be processed or converted on the same lines where the plastics are running. And most of the people are talking on cost. So we know the Indian market, like not just Indian market, even globally also, wherever we pitch about sustainability, people end up simply saying, "Okay, what is the cost?" So I think that is a area where we have to pay attention. So we are working on products that are scalable, right, and also cost effective, right? Though we have the benefits like EPR, lesser CO2 emissions, people don't generally speak. Those are indirect benefits. We are in par with the cost of plastic, slightly expensive at the moment, but we have come a long way, and on scaling we will be reaching the plastic price or even compete with plastics. So I hope I have addressed one part of your question in terms of how we utilize the compost bio waste to develop materials, and all our materials again go back to the same place for composting. So it's pretty much circular.
Right. Thank you.
Thanks.
May I invite Dr. Vasant now? Dr. Vasant?
He is not here.
I hope I have not missed any of my speakers. Dr. Prameet Singh from Raheja Solar Food Processing. Parmeet Singh ji from Raheja Solar Food Processing. Okay, moving on. I hope I have not missed any of my speakers.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, sorry. Actually, there was some issues in my laptop. That's why I'm unable to unmute myself. So yeah, going forward, actually regarding the plastic thing, yeah, actually at Raheja Solar Food Processing, we are more focusing on reducing the post-harvest loss at the field level. So not on the plastic waste, but yeah, we are working on organic waste like this lot of B-grade vegetables which are being thrown away in the fields because of lack of storage and insufficient supply chain. So we are providing a solution with solar dryers, and not only solar dryers, we are actually convincing them to buy much more post-harvest technologies at the field level, which are more at decentralized level. So we are actually, educating the farmers as well as a group of farmers also not to throw their vegetable, instead process them with whatever technology they want. Although solar dry is one of the technology, but there are a lot of dairy technologies which are being available on the field side.
Perfect. I think this also eliminates the need of plastic-based preservation.
Yeah, exactly,
It makes
exactly.
sense. That was one of my questions, that how are you extending shelf life through your, of course,
Correct,
your
correct.
solar-powered post-harvest
Yeah.
infrastructure.
So the main purpose is that not to basically save this, but also provide them the market linkages also to keep them
Right.
motivated. Because if we are not going to provide a market linkages, none of the farmer, they are not ready to basically do extra efforts. But yeah, if they are doing efforts and we will provide them some fair value for the efforts, then they will be encouraged and motivated to do reduction of post-harvest loss. And that's the main motto behind our company mission also.
Absolutely. Thank you, Parmeet. So now I will pick up the questions from the chat, and we can take this up. Dr. Mehta, Dr. Tarun.
Yes, Tracy, what are the questions?
Yeah. The first one is from Mitanshu Chaudhary, and is Mitanshu here? Mitanshu, would you like to ask your own question?
Yes, just on mute, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, we were looking at, how can we introduce bioplastics and new designs into the conventional, as from a pilot, we recognized that when we were doing a pilot for the grapes, where, maximum grapes have been exported from India into the European sector. And when this was happening, the pilot was successful, the farmer was having a benefit out of it, but the conditions from APEDA is that you cannot change the packaging, which is standardized from APEDA. So even if though we could accommodate more volume onto the pallet, there were some prior, I think so, permissions that need to be taken from the APEDA and from the buyers from the European markets. That is what the farmers told me. And so the design was very convincing, and how it could be helpful in this case. And because it saves a lot of money. For example, the brand which we were working for, we don't want to disclose the name, but they were almost 30% of the exports they were handling from the post-harvest company, and they could see there was a 50% reduction in the reefer containers that if this design was adopted into it. So how it can be, this pilot, how it can be commercialized? That is what my question was. And what support can we get out of this?
I don't know if any of our experts and professionals would like to respond to Mr. Chaudhary's question. But as I understand, the question has less to do with the technology of bioplastics, more to do with the policy environment and the regulatory framework, which needs to accept bioplastic packaging, especially when it comes to product export. And what is required is, number one, permission from EPIDA, which is the regulatory agency within the country, as also the importing entity. Have I understood correctly, Mr. Chaudhary?
Yes, very much. Yes, sir.
Now, have you had a dialogue with EPIDA on this?
So we have got it because the season is just off, and we just concluded the pilot because it was a very stress constraining because the time span was really less, but we could get actual results, and we have addressed this issue at a different state levels. But this is what major exporters told us, that the packaging and the whole schematics come from the EPIDA to us. That's the standardization format that we need to follow.
No, you see,
and
EPIDA standards it's not a holy scripture that it cannot be changed. And when the standards evolve, whether it is EPIDA or it is FSSAI, EPIDA, I do think there's a lot of consultative process, including the consultation with industry, which takes place. No, but it's a long-drawn process. It's not that you put up a proposal and they'll straight away approve it. I suggest that you put up a paper, concept paper, explaining your technology, the benefits of the technology, the pros and cons, and how then probably you could position your grapes as wholly organic product, not only organically grown, but organically packaged also, which can generate greater value, not only financial value, also in terms of the integrity and credibility of our product. And then share that paper with us also, so that we also take it up at an appropriate forum with EPIDA and other regulatory agencies. And don't do it only from your own company. Do it as a collective proposal from the industry. That would help.
Surely, sir. Surely, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, I don't see many questions in the chat. I think I would like to come back to our experts who have given their very valuable views so far. If they have anything specific to add, otherwise I'll come to the chair, Dr. Mehta, to say his final words before I just conclude and wind up. Dr. Saxena, would you like to add something, sir, to what has transpired so far? You need to unmute, sir. You need to unmute yourself. सर आपका माइक बंद है, माइक आपका म्यूटेड है. Okay, we can go to Dr. Ram Prasad and give some time to Dr. Saxena to unmute himself. Dr. Ram Prasad, would you like to add something, sir?
I had said I had only two questions and two suggestions. One pertain to, as I said, that this decomposition of organic residues is not a big problem, but very few people are working, and whatever has been worked is only at the laboratory scale. This should be expanded, and this is not something like a rocket science that only few scientists can do. We have to, government should take this initiative, because this is a serious issue. Parali burning is a very serious issue, and we should find a very constructive use. That is one question. Number two, I said that the tribal communities who have they have some access to chemical fertilizers, but by their tradition they are not using chemical fertilizers. They want organic farming, but unfortunately they don't have cattle. Now that cow dung production is gradually getting reduced. Only Chhattisgarh government, they had started buying cow dung from farmers and making vermicompost. And this is a good idea that whatever cow dung is available, that should be converted into organic manure, and that should be promoted. Because without this, your dream for organic farming and natural farming will be incomplete. Yes, these are two things. And third, I was saying that agroforestry is a good example. People have been planting bamboo, but bamboo is a very useful product. But in terms of marketing, economics, you find that you need sometimes you like teak should be planted. Few trees of teak on your farmlands, and somebody is going for the marriage of his son or daughter, and that could be an insurance, so something like that. So agroforestry is very important, but these policy issues, as I said and emphasize time and again, that everybody knows. We know, the state governments know, the central government knows, but we have done very little. Government have been very sensitive that this should be solved, but the progress is very slow. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ramprasad. The issue of agroforestry, which you had raised earlier also, and I had endorsed it. Dr. Biradar had a point to make, and he's mentioned it in his chat. He mentioned it in writing that you see there are several species. In fact, most of the species which form the part of agroforestry have been exempt from transit permit and exempt from that felling ban, etc. I fully agree with Dr. Biradar. But since I have been forest secretary in my state for a very long period, my experience was while we exempt several species from exemption from the ban on felling, exemption from transit permit, everything. But when the farmer cuts down the trees, loads it in a truck, and when he goes out, and when he has to face the harassment at the border, and then it's also open to the interpretation by the forest officer as to what is defined as a. I think the Godavarman case says any composite or one collective group of 50 trees or more, even on private land, would comprise forest, etc. Now, while we may exempt it by way of exemption, a legal statutory exemption under the respective acts, generally they are called land preservation acts, etc. Practically, somehow it is not happening. So farmer feels that it is not worth taking the risk of undergoing that harassment and the legal rigmarole by resorting to agroforestry. In fact, I have faced it 3-4 years back. When I owned small farm in Aravali Hills, there were some teak trees which were falling down in the storm, etc. Now it's a huge challenge how to transport them, because I'm sure somebody along the line is good. So as we were discussing earlier, it's basically the gap between theory and practice. What actually is good theoretically, but in practice it is wrong. So I'm reminded of George Bernard Shaw's very famous saying that path to hell is paved with good intentions. Intentions are good, but they are leading towards this disaster. So, Dr. Biradar, over to you.
So I think fully agree with sir, because of the despite of this the deregulation of the species, and but recently that has been improved quite a bit because of the awareness among the different segment, and still there is, you go to the rural area, someone want to plant a tree, especially in the timber side, and there's still some concern is that. That's what the revision of the agroforestry policy they has been doing now. In the state, the Karnataka, we recently drafted the new agroforestry policy. You were identifying those the district have the forest. You can keep that one. Those district are not at all forest, completely exempt from all the things that are there, so that they can be done. So they are kind of agreement to that one. Similarly, Andhra Pradesh government have the new agroforestry policy they are bringing in. I think these are the things really addressed very well in that. And secondly, often what you see that in agroforestry means only the timber or wood side, but there's a tree to play the number of other role as well as the fruit trees, as the fodder, their fiber, the biofertilizer and biofuel. So many other things is there. I'm telling that the people to be not just only grow the trees because of the timber and is not sure about the market other thing, but at least you can bring them like a rows of the tree around the bund. You can reduce about anywhere between 20 to 30% of the water, the fertilizer requirement. Also a lot leaf litter, and in fact, a lot of the fodder trees, that is basically like a livestock industry in the summer time, and the suffering from the lack of the fodder, and we are planting the few trees and the bunds are the especially fodder trees, they're really helping that. So that we need to redefine that agroforestry means doesn't just only the timber. There's 85% Indian agroforestry is focused on timber, not on the fruits and other thing. And that need to be addressed. Like when the mango trees grown under they're classified as a horticulture, there are not any restrictions on the cutting, selling anything. Mango is a tree. but we declassified. Same thing happened with the bamboo. I think the same thing, Saraca indica. Dabur wanted to buy a lot of Saraca indica, and they put the restrictions because they grow very well ornamentally. They also have a lot of medicinal value. So that now there's new regulatory mechanism coming up that if the tree species they identify in the forest is the forest department to protect the existing forest, anything they planted in the agricultural land, in the private land, they geotagged, they demarcated, then registered under the carbon schemes. They already know that where the tree species is coming from. So that they require the kind of even national, like a transit permit, one nation, one transit. They already launched that program. But what is required, sir, as you said, we need to bring the awareness among the even forest officer as well as the farmers. I think that's what required is a very big campaign to address these gaps, so that even like a check post, when forest department given the permission and farmers cut this one, check post people are not aware of that one. So often that is also some lacking.
Yes.
So I think these need to be like a barcoded system. They now enabled the government, central government, but very interesting scheme. If the TP is given by the one state and barcode is given, so that in the transit they can show the barcode is entirely go away. This is the one thing. Same thing Assam when they were launching our program, only 5 species exempted. And there's a lot of the people, the concern, when we discussed with the forest minister for almost 2 hours, then agreed that now the 50 species exempted, suddenly there's a agroforestry coming up there. So this is the kind of restriction they removed, then a lot of the things happens. But as you said, it is about the awareness is very, very important.
Yeah.
And also there's a new exemptions, like a lot of the medicinal aromatic species and condiments and spices. They are they identify 65 species, but still there are some scrutiny is required. And now the forestmen also understood that. They also raise the nurseries what the farmers require rather than what they wanted to grow. So this is where also they change the policy framework. I think this is slowly evolving, but of course they need a very strong push for that. Probably ICFA can take this case and connecting the dots between different divisions, so that make the farmers' life easy. And also industry also they want that kind of the regulation so that they can establish the diversified wood and tree-based and non-timber forest producers.
Thank you. Dr. Saxena, I think are you in a position?
Yes, am I audible now, sir?
Yeah, yes, sir, you are, sir.
Okay, sir. Sir, what I have a suggestion for ICFA is to bring out a status paper on bioplastics to beat what I call fossil fuel-based plastic, that is polyethylene. So we have a green polyethylene, which comes from the renewable sources. And ICFA can give a call, national call, for those connecting the dots, like the Central Institute of Petrochemical Engineering Technology in Madras. And then each state has got Indian Institute of Plastic Packaging Technology. So they can be invited to contribute on the status of bioplastic, including the global status as regard to cost, feasibility of adaptation, and the opportunity to replace beet, single-use plastic, and compostable plastic usage, not only in agriculture, but in other wake of life also. So you may kindly consider and advise how this can be done, and some roadmap can be developed, that how much time it will be for inviting the articles, drafting, reviewing, and then coming out with a status paper, which can be submitted to the government as a roadmap for this journey of bioplastic to replace the fossil fuel plastics. That's what is my thought, sir. And I would be very keen to contribute in whatever way I am expected to.
Thank you, Dr. Saxena. We're going to assign this responsibility to you only. And
Okay.
in fact, because you see, we have to be dependent upon your vast knowledge as also experience, and more than important than that, your commitment to the issue and subject. Of course, along with the help of other very renowned professional friends we have here. I think now, well, over to Dr. Mehta. Dr. Mehta, as the chair, some final words from you before I just sum up as to what have been the deliberations today.
So you're on mute again.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yes, Dr. Mehta.
Yeah. I think we had very interesting discussions and input from all over the issue. First of all, what we are talking about is a eco-friendly agriculture and sustainable agriculture for future. Both the topics which we talked about seemingly look very different, but there's a lot of commonality between the two. You are talking on one side about the agro-waste, the other side.
I think we have lost connection with Dr. Mehta.
Looks like so. Must be network issue.
Dr. Mehta, can you hear us? I think we have lost.
Message him.
Is Dr. Mehta back?
No, so looks like his network is weak.
No, he's no. No, I think now he's not on the screen. Okay, if he comes back, he can join. Oh yeah, there he is. Dr. Mehta, you have to unmute yourself, sir. Sir, you need to unmute yourself.
Unmute.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now.
Okay, all right. Okay. So what I was saying is the two seemingly different subjects. You know, historically, the first polymer or plastic produced was from agro-waste. After all, what is agro-waste? Agro-waste consists of high polymers, cellulose, lignin, and so on. And so there is a commonality when we are talking about plastic and polymer and agro-waste, because even agro-waste is also, to my mind, is a polymer. But what we really are looking at the holistic approach for the eco-friendly transformation or eco-agri revolution or evergreen revolution, where these inputs become extremely important and viable. And it was very interesting and very enriching to hear the different views, but all coming together on the same here around that. What it really comes out is that for the development and application of biopolymer, there's a lot of work going on. In fact, if you really see, all the giant chemical industries are working on alternative biopolymers. It's only a question of time where it's viable, it's more easily acceptable and more economically competitive. But it is bound to happen. So I think that is one thing. Let's look at the area of the eco-farming, whether you are talking about regenerating or organic farming or something. Mulching with plastics was being promoted in a very big way. But now the trend is very clearly, and it shows here, that the enriching the soil of more organic carbon and so on and so forth. So, and of course, connected with the horrible problem of air pollution. So I think that these are the things. So in both these areas, you can see the technology is available. Technology has been demonstrated. Now is the time that the adaptation in a large scale, the scale up, is required. And I think I hope when we should resolve together with the very enlightened group as well as with ICFA is to take the roadmap and action plan with respect to the agro-waste utilization with the eco-friendly and farmer-friendly application. In the similar way, the special incentives for promotion and application of biodegradable plastic, biopolymer, is the another area where I think we should take it up with our recommendation.
There seems to be network glitch, sir.
No, I think he had concluded here.
So I'd also like to invite Mani Prasad ji, his advisor to ICFA, if he wants to share his thoughts on this.
Yeah, please, yes.
Mani Prasad, sir. Shruti, Ayati, can you give him the access?
Hello. In fact, hello.
Yeah, we can hear you, Mani Prasad ji.
Good evening to all of you. I have nothing to comment except applause to the team who did a good job, because the subject is completely Greek and Latin. But as a commoner, I know there is a big issue on the use of plastics. We tell plastic not to be used, but we see plastics everywhere. We see the burning of the residues, a great problem in Delhi. That is why I ran from Delhi, now settled in Bhilai. That is the precise reason, to be frank. Over to you, Shreyasi.
Thank you, Mani Prasad, sir. Tarun, so over to you for the concluding remarks.
Thank you, Shreyasi, and thank you, Dr. Mehta, who chaired the session, and thank you to all the speakers and the participants. It was a very engaging discussion, very useful information and suggestions which have come. Let me just add my 2 bits. So, although I was only to conclude and basically sum up the discussions. You see, right at the outset, I had mentioned that even though the theme of the World Environment Day was reducing plastic pollution, and Dr. Biradar, in fact, took it to the next level when says that just eliminate plastic from agriculture altogether. But it's a very laudable ambition. And I think we would nominate him as our leader in taking us forward towards aiming and finally achieving this goal. You see, reducing plastic pollution, in my view, is not an end in itself. It's only a step, and a major step, towards ensuring environmentally sustainable and environmentally responsible agriculture. Of course, without compromising food and nutrition security for the present as also the future. So there is a larger goal we should aim at, and not merely saying we have reduced plastic pollution, so we have solved all the issues and all the ills, all the problems plaguing the agriculture sector. To that extent, I think Dr. Mehta had set the tone very correctly when he mentioned that eco-agriculture, in fact, is inclusive agriculture. You see, many times what it bothers me is that many of our agriculture professionals and policymakers get too much bogged down in the terminology. There are some people who say the real farming is natural farming. Organic farming is not natural farming. And then there are proponents who say there is something called zero-based budget farming. And that zero-based budget farming is different and more superior to organic farming. I think we have got too bogged down in these terminologies and a bit of one-upmanship rather than focusing like the machli ki aankh, that fish eye which Arjun aimed at, that ultimately what we want is that our agriculture should be environmentally sustainable. Our agriculture should protect the environment, and the environment should protect our agriculture. So Dr. Mehta rightly pointed out that what we need is an inclusive agriculture. And towards that inclusivity of agriculture, which contributes its 2-bit to environment conservation, we had this series of suggestions, technical suggestions, which came from various experts. I would not like to comment upon those technical suggestions because I'm not a technocrat. I am not a scientist. But issues flagged were basically crop residues, how to deal with them, how to deal with bio waste, how to promote bioplastics. But Dr. Sibande made a very valid point that whatever technology we propagate and whatever technology we encourage, it has to be necessarily adaptable to different conditions. And once the adaptability is established, it has to be affordable as also accessible, for which, apart from the robustness of technology, what is important is the robustness of the policy environment and the business ecosystem which exists. Bamboo came up as a very dynamic solution, as a very dynamic plant. Now, how to take bamboo forward, I think we have Bamboo Mission, and there are a whole lot of stakeholders who are working on it. And I think ICFA is also working very closely on the promotion of bamboo, and I think we need to do more on that. As far as bioplastics is concerned, point is very well taken. We need to bring out a policy paper with the very specific recommendations and a roadmap, for which we'll work under the leadership of Dr. Mohanji Saxena, because he has that zeal and commitment besides the deep knowledge. I was very impressed with Dr. Biradar's one specific terminology which he put in the chat. We are talking of plasticized agriculture. I think it's a very attractive term. You know what happens when we put some ideas forward and we want to make an impact? The optics. Are you talking somewhere else, Shiresi?
No, sir. No, sir. Sorry.
You are on the screen and then I get distracted. Okay. He used a term called plasticized agriculture. You see, sometimes these optics become very important when we are putting across a point. If we just put plastic is a problem, etc., if we put it as beware of plasticized agriculture requires a response from us, then it dramatizes the issue and the other person wakes up and pays that attention to the issue. So I think how we package our recommendations and the policy is also very important. We had the issue of organic farming, which requires manure. Now, the problem of getting manure, at the same time, Professor Neerja had also a very good suggestion that increasing demand of manure would also spur the growth of dairy. So it could be how to converge the two and have it win-win for both. We discussed the issue of agroforestry and how there was a gap between the policy and the practice. And then Dr. Satish Babu Gade made a very valid point. Well, whatever you talk here is okay, but you have to engage with the farmers. If you want to move even one step forward, your best of policies and the best of interventions may fail if the farmers are not engaged. I think it's a lesson for us also. And I have been saying it time and again, but somehow I'm guilty that I have only been saying it and not actually taking it forward. We need to have more participation from farmers in these discussions, not merely advisors and academics and scientists only. A greater engagement from farmers would mean the credibility of our professionals would also increase. There would be greater viewership and listenership, and the ideas would go forward. Now, these are some of the very useful suggestions which have come. I have also noted down, but as I said that I would not be commenting upon the technical aspects because it may be very presumptuous on my part. What I would suggest is that before we bring out a policy document or a document of recommendations from these deliberations, quickly, in the next 2-3 days, if you can share the record of discussion with all the speakers, the record of discussions, so that we don't miss out on any point. It may happen that Dr. Ram Prasad or Dr. Biradar or one of our professional speakers may have made a point which we may have missed on jotting down, or while transcribing we may miss out. Give them a week's time to respond, just to say whether everything is covered honestly or not. And if there's something left out, they could make a mention of that. And thereafter, we work on a specific policy recommendations in terms of sustainable agriculture, environmentally sustainable agriculture in general, with a specific focus on the issue of plastic pollution, which is hampering the growth of agriculture and which could threaten the sustainability. These are the final words from my side, Shresi. Now you could propose a vote of thanks to the Honorable Chairman, to all the speakers for their very, very valuable, very useful suggestions and contributions. I, for myself, can vouchsafe that I will be, when I close down the monitor, I would be much wiser than what I was, and more knowledgeable I have gained from each one of you. And you thank all the speakers, and thank also to all the participants who have been listening very, very patiently. Thank you, Shresi. Now over to you. You can propose this vote of thanks, and thank everyone very profusely from the core of your heart and from the core of the heart of ICFA.
Right, sir. Thank you, Dr. Tarun. Again, I would really heartfelt thank you to Dr. M.H. Mehta, Padma Shri Dr. M.H. Mehta, who's been instrumental in driving this. And I would definitely mention that we've been discussing this for over a couple of months or more even. And somewhere we had to start. And I think it's a great discussion that we had today. And some of the initiatives that Tarun sir also has spelled out will be documented. And I'll be betting with all of you. If the points are well covered, my policy team is on the call as well, Dr. Sudha and Dr. Divya. They'll be documenting this along with me, and we'll be covering the aspects, but we might be missing out. And of course, we will share it with all of you. I thank all the speakers, on a short notice to join us. Dr. Lindiwe Sibanda, you've always been a pleasure to speak to, and the kind of inputs that you've shared, farmer to farmer engagement, and the policy intervention that's required, and of course, the technology that is required, and the exchange programs. Much to speak on, and of course, we're coming up with the India-Africa Seed Summit, so we could discuss some of these initiatives. Unfortunately, we couldn't have some of our speakers join. However, they've been sharing their inputs, and I'd like to thank them as well. Dr. Saxena, Dr. Ram Prasad, Satish Babu Gadde, Dr. Biradar. Always, he's leading our sustainability and green growth initiatives at ICFA, and we'll be working together on many more projects. Of course, Dr. Gauri, Dr. Bharti, and so on and so forth. I thank each and every speaker who's shared their views, because we wanted a rounded off view on what sort of agri inputs and what are we talking on in terms of biomaterials, and what is the policy document that needs to go out of the government, not from a sustainable point alone, from agriculture point alone, but also from the other parts of the agri value chain, that's packaging and then logistics as well. Ultimately, the food reaches to the consumer, and we consume the plastic or the microplastic. So, I'm also very sensitive to that part. And thank you, everyone, Dr. Tarun Sridhar, for setting the context and also giving us lots of work to work on, a lot of agenda that we need to work on now, clearly spelled out for all of us. Thank the team with Shruti and Ayati, who have been instrumental in organizing this, coordinating with all of you, and of course the IT team for glitch-free, seamless experience on the Zoom meeting. Thank you, one and all. It's been a pleasure hosting you, and I look forward to many more such forums. This is just the start. A lot of work to do, a lot of farmer interactions to be done. I think that's something which is lacking. And from my meetings this week, couple of meetings, I learned that, a lot of meetings with the farmers also needs to be done, understand what is, on ground reality with the farmers of each region. Thank you all. Thank you for your time.
Okay, before you switch off, let me thank the thanker, because Shresi has thanked everyone. We need to thank her also, and along with her, her very bright team, Mr. Mani Prasad, Dr. Sudha, Ayati, Shruti, Ankit, Anil, everyone in ICFA. They have truly worked as a good team under her leadership, and managed to get such stalwarts together, and we've given very invaluable suggestions. And we surely look forward to more such engagements and interactions in future. Thank you so much. And thank you so much. Best wishes to all.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.